Hello my amazing viewers, welcome back. Do you want to see how I decorated this fun 3D bunny? If that's a yes, stay to the end of the video to see how I got it done. I started this whole process off with some frozen cake layers. Whenever you're thinking of doing any carved cake designs, it is best to work with cake layers that are frozen, as it will be less crumb to deal with and easier carving. I started putting on my cake layers on the cake board, one layer of cake followed by some layers of filling. I'm using some chocolate cakes and some brownie cakes. Literally, I found these cakes in my freezer and I decided to use them for this fun project. As I continue building my cake, you need to build your cake with the final cake design in mind. One cake layer directly on top of the next as you work your way up. I did the base of the bunny with 3 6-inch round cake layers and I topped it off with 2 4-inch cake layers. I went ahead and cut the third 4-inch cake layer in 4 pieces to put to the sides of the cake to form my bunny cheeks. You know, bunnies have this fat cheek. I'm doing some carving now. I'm using a long, sharp serrated knife just to carve inward the top bit of those 3 6-inch cake layers to give me a rounded shape right there. I will be manipulating this cake as I go along and just filling in bits here and there and doing the carving until I get the perfect shape. Once I'm done cutting away all the bits that I don't need from that cake, I use the offcuts to make like a little cake pop, little cake dough. So I just mix it with some buttercream to form a sticky dough and I use it to make that dome shape of the bunny's head. Things was getting real messy real fast, so I had to grab my gloves. I continued to do some carving until I was very happy with the shape of the cake. As you can see there, I'm carving the base of the cake inward a bit just to create a rounded base as well. I don't want the bunny to look as if it's just a round thing sitting down. It needs to be rounded at the bottom. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I'm still using those offcuts to patch up places here and there as I go along. I now backed out some Rice Krispies treats and I'm just using them to form the bunny legs. So the thighs of the bunny is seated down, so I want the thighs to be a bit fat. That is some milk chocolate ganache. This chocolate ganache is made with a 2-to-1 ratio of milk chocolate and heavy whipping cream. So I use 600 grams of milk chocolate and 300 grams of cream. So that is a 2-to-1 ratio. I heated the cream just to make it hot and then I poured it over my chocolate chip and it did its thing. I mixed it until it was nice and smooth. I covered it with some cling film and let it sit overnight on my countertop until it was nice and firm. Just before using it, as you can see, I took some off and I popped it in the microwave for about 10 to 20 seconds, but between each 10 seconds, I mix it to check the consistency, and that is the consistency that I'm working with. This chocolate ganache now, the purpose of it is to make my cake easy to work with. So I'm applying a crumb coat with the chocolate ganache that will give me a firm base to apply my fondant to this cake. If this video has been helpful so far, I hope that you have already liked it and you've already subscribed to my YouTube channel for more educational videos. My mouth is babbling in this video because I was actually on TikTok Live teaching a class to my TikTok subscribers with this carved bunny cake. And that's the reason why I am also keeping this video at a slow pace as much as I can, because a lot of my viewers' intention is for them to come over here on my YouTube channel, rewatch this video so that they can recreate this bunny by themselves. And so I don't want to speed up this video a whole lot so they're not able to follow along while they're watching the video. What I'm using there is a flexi scraper. So I bought this from Amazon. I'll try my best to leave the link to most of the tools that I'm using in this video down below in the description box. Or you can feel free to check out my Instagram or my TikTok and check the links in my bio so that you can check out my storefront, my Amazon storefront, so you can see my favorites cake baking and decorating tools. Listen to me, guys. Sometimes when you're carving cakes and applying chocolate ganache, you gotta get your hands all up in it to get this chocolate nice and smooth and get things where you want them to be. And that's the reason for what you're seeing there. Anyways, I'm fairly happy with that shape. I'm happy with the application of the ganache, and it's time for me to move forward. I'm gonna let this cake sit. You can choose depending on the pace at which you're going. You can let this ganache stay at room temperature and get firm, or you can go ahead and pop it in your fridge for a few minutes just to quickly hasten the process of hardening that chocolate ganache before you move on. You want the ganache to be nice and firm before you apply your fondant. My bunny is going to be a nice deep gray, and as you can see, I am rolling out my fondant. I did add some Tylose powder to the fondant just to get it nice and firm. I did some measurements there because the last thing you want to do is to be covering your cake and then realize, holy crap, I don't have enough fondant to go around my cake. I'll be covering this cake in 2 parts. What you see me do there, I just spritz some water onto the cake so that it will help my fondant to stick to the cake, all right? When you're paneling fondant onto a cake, one of your main aim is to have your fondant wide enough so when it wraps around the cake, it overlaps at one point. At that point where it overlaps, you're going to get a sharp X-Acto blade to cut all the way down. Remove the excess and carefully join the fondant pieces together. You're now going to go in with some smoothing tool to try to erase that jointed line as best as you can. Using my same X-Acto blade, I'm cutting away the excess fondant from the top of the cake. Then I'll be rolling some more fondant all out again to cover the top of that bunny's head. As you can see, the fondant I'm working with there, it's a little bit thicker than the one I placed around the body because believe me, covering that hod shaped head, trying to cover it neatly can be a little bit tricky. So you have to have good elasticity in your fondant so that you can pull it down, stretch it, manipulate it so that it covers your cake smoothly without tearing or cracking or giving you uneven surfaces, all right? Once my bunny is all covered and I'm happy with it, I'm going to move on to cutting out the decorative pieces for my bunny. This is kind of like my bunny's stomach, that little middle part there of the stomach. That's the shape. It's kind of a U shape. And I'm just using some water again to stick it on to the front of my bunny. My original plan was to make that piece of fondant a light gray But for some reason, I rolled out the white fondant, applied it. It never looked too bad, so I thought I'd let it stay. And that's what I did. The next thing I'm working on now are my bunny's eyes. What I did, I cut out one eye first, and then I flipped that eye over and use it as a template to cut out the second eye, so that both of my eyes would be approximately the same shape. You may not get them looking symmetrical, but that's okay. That's the fun thing about decorating a cake. You can mess little things up here and there, but everything will all come together in the end. Here I am using some massive pieces of fondant. Those are all fondant I'm using to stick to the between the body and the face. I think those are their little cheeks. Yes, that's right. Those are my bunny's cheeks. I'm using water to attach them with some cocktail stick, and they did stay put. You have to hold on to them a little bit because it's pure fondant. It can be a bit heavy, so hold on to it for a few seconds just to get it sticking. I went over the cake again with my Flexi Smoother just to remove my fingerprints and just to get the cake looking all nice and smooth. What I'm working on now are my bunny's arms. Those are pure fondant again. I'm using water and some cocktail sticks just to stick them to the side of the body, and I want them to be kind of holding on to that white bit, so I don't want any gap between the bunny's arms or hands and the tummy. So that's what I did. Those are the bunny's feet. Again, I just roll out some fondant, use my fondant tool to create some indents which marks the bunny's toes. The bunny's thighs weren't prominent enough, they weren't very visible, so I went ahead and attached some additional fondant just to give it a fatter look, and then I applied the bunny's feet. And look at how cute that little bunny is. I used the back of my piping tips to cut out some circles and put them on there, and my bunny is all coming together. Look at that cute little pink nose. And I'm just applying a little bit of pink fondant all the way up in there. Then a little white fondant to form the bunny's lip a little bit, just to keep everything nice and in place. And I'm so proud of this cute bunny. I'm using some cocktail sticks and some florist wires to put in my bunny's whiskers. And look at that. So cute. What's a bunny without the bunny's ears? Exacto blade. I'm doing the same thing. I cut out one, use it as a template, flip it over, and cut out the additional one. So the inner part of my bunny's ears will be this nice light pink. Once I'm happy with the shapes of the ears, I'm gonna go ahead, use some florist wire, and all I ever use for my glue when I'm decorating any cake is just water. I shape my bunny's ears and then I pop them in the oven at a very low temperature just to get them to set firmly. I added the black bit of the eye, the little white bit, using a fondant tool again to put two little holes for the nostrils. I'm adding on the eyebrows, the eyelashes with some tiny black fondant. These bits were fiddly, but just take your time, be patient, and always trust the process. And remember, if it don't come out right the first time, nothing is wrong. You try again, and I promise you, with hard work and determination, it will all come together. Remember guys, if you're loving this video, make sure to smack that like button, make sure that you are following, and drop a comment down below to share your thoughts on this lovely bunny. I have some green buttercream and a large grass piping tip. And look at that. My bunny is all coming together. It's just sitting in a patch of grass, and my face was just lighting up. Yeah, I know you're not seeing the light up on my face, but believe me, I was so pleased with this cake, and the views on my TikTok live, everything was just so amazing. The ears are now set. I put them on, and look, my bunny came together so nicely. Someone in the comment section suggested, why not put a carrot in the bunny's hand? And I'm like, yes, a carrot indeed. So that's just a big piece of orange fondant again. I roll it into the shape of the carrot, and I'm using my fondant tool to put some lines. Those are the lines and grits that comes in the carrot. Then I get some green fondant and put the little leaf on top of the carrot. And look at that cute bunny. The bunny is sitting in a patch of grass, so I thought it would be nice just to add some little fondant flowers and fondant eggs and everything distributed all over in the grass just to bring it to life, give it a little pop of color, and make the whole thing look a lot more beautiful. I went ahead and put a cute little tail on my bunny. I'm just pricking it up with an X-Acto blade to give the effect of tiny furs. And I went ahead apply a nice black ribbon to the base of the cake board just to tie the whole design together. And I'm super proud. Those cocktail sticks behind the ears, it's just to hold it into place for now. I will eventually move them. I went ahead and I added a little bit of blush to my bunny. So it's a Sugar Flare luster dust. I use it to apply a pink blush to my bunny. And do you see that shine? I did steam my bunny to get rid of all the cornstarch residues. That's my lovely bunny. I'm proud of this cake. Please drop a comment down below to let me know your thoughts on this cake. And if you do recreate it, send me a picture and let me know. Have any questions? Ask them down below in the comment section. Until next time, keep on baking.